Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about Indian Economic Development Chapter 8, Employment, Growth, Informalization and Other Issues. Today's topic is Categories of Workers. In India we can see different categories of workers. These categories can be classified on the basis of their nature of work, environment of work, the organization in which they are working, and the duties and responsibilities they are having, like that. We know that different categories of workers are working in our economy, Indian economy. These workers are in many types. So the types of workers we can classify into different groups. The workers can be classified as self-employed workers and hired workers. These are the main criteria in which the workers are classified. Self-employed workers, the people who operate their own farm or non-farm enterprises or are engaged independently in a profession or trade are referred as self-employed. More than 50% of workforce in India belong to this category. For example, proprietors of small business people, a doctor running his own clinic, and a person working in his own workshop. These are the examples of self-employment. The next is hired workers. These are the workers who are employed by others or employers and receive a salary or wage as compensation for their work. Hired workers may again be of two types. They are regular wage employees and casual wage employees. Regular salaried worker. These are the workers hired by the employers on a permanent basis and are paid regular salaries or wages for their work. The people who work in others' farm or non-farm enterprises, and in return they are getting the regular wages. About 15% of India's workforce are regular wage employees. These workers are hired on a permanent basis and get social security benefits like pension, provident fund, etc. They are usually skilled workers like professors, engineers, doctors, teachers, etc. At the same time, another group is casual workers or casual wage laborers. These are the workers who are engaged by employers on a temporary basis for some specific work. They are not permanent and do not get any social security benefit for their work. For example, construction workers are contracted only for the specific project and not hired permanently. The seasonal workers, such as those engaged on the farm only during the harvest season, are also classified as casual workers. The main point we have to note down that they don't have regular income, job security, and they are not entitled to social security benefits. They account for 33% of India's workforce. Now, let's see the distribution of employment among various categories. Let's analyze the distribution of workers among different categories of employment according to their gender. It enables us to know the type of employment in which men and women are engaged. According to gender, if you are thinking about the distribution of workers in India, 50% of male workers are self-employed and 50% of male workers are hired. 53% of female workers are self-employed and 47% of female workers are hired. Among these male workers, you can see that figure itself, the 50% is belong to self-employed and 31% is casual wage laborers and 18% is regular salaried workers, that is among the male workers. If you are thinking about the female workers here, 53% are self-employed and 37% are casual wage workers and 10% are regular salaried workers. While we are analyzing this, The regular salaried workers are, the percentage is very less among females. But the percentage of workers belong to self-employed work is more among these female workers. When we analyze the employment data region-wise, we notice that the self-employed and casual wage laborers are found more in rural area than in urban area. 41% of total workers are self-employed and 59% of workers are hired in urban areas. 54% of workers are self-employed and 46% of workers are hired in rural area. If you are analyzing this picture, among urban workers, 41% are self-employed, 18% are casual wage workers, and 41% are regular salaried workers. That means in an urban area, the more percentage of people they are working in regular salaried areas. If you are considering the rural workers, for 54% of total rural workers are employed in self-employed areas. 39% they are casual wage workers and 7% of the total are belong to regular salaried workers. While we are comparing this, the number of regular salaried workers are more in urban area than in rural area. Then the self-employed workers, if you are thinking, the self-employed workers are more in rural area and less in urban area. The number of casual wage workers are more in rural area than in urban area. There are various reasons for that. If you are analyzing the distribution of workers in India by economic activities, primary sector, it includes agriculture, forestry, logging, fishing, mining and quarrying. Secondary sector includes manufacturing, construction, electricity, gas and water supply. Tertiary sector, it includes trade, transport, storage and services. In what all areas or the sectors these people are distributed? Now we can see like this. The distribution of workforce by industry in 2009-2010 period is given here in your slide itself. So in the industrial sector, primary sector, 68% of rural people in rural area they are working in primary, 17.4% in secondary, 14.6 in tertiary. In urban area, primary sector 7.5, secondary sector 34.4, 58.1 in tertiary sector. If you are seeing this workers percentage gender wise, the male people are more working in primary sector than secondary and tertiary sector. But the female people are working more in primary sector than secondary, tertiary sectors. The total primary sector is giving 53.3% of workers. Secondary sector is accommodating 21.5 and tertiary sector is accommodating 25.3. Still in India, the number of workers are more in primary sector. Even though output is less, they are working more in primary sector. That is because of the presence of disguised unemployment. The distribution of workforce into different economic activities on the basis of the nature of occupation is referred as the occupational structure of an economy. So now we can see that what is occupation structure. We are discussing about the workforce in an economy. The most important term or a concept is occupation structure. So now we can see what is occupation structure. The occupational structure of a nation refers to the percentage of its workforce employed in various economic activities or economic ventures. To put it in another word, articulating how many of the total working population are employed in agriculture and associated activities and how many of them are involved in manufacturing and service sector can be identified from the occupational structure of the nation. Here, this picture you can see. This is the occupational structure of our economy. How many are working in primary sector? How many are in secondary sector? How many are in tertiary sector? You can see that in 2007-2008 period, 55.9% are working in primary sector and 18.7 are working in secondary sector and 25.4 are working in tertiary sector. And from this we can see that among this occupational structure of an economy, it will give the clear idea about the structure of economic activities, or the occupational structure will tell us on what sector do the people of a country depend more. Or beside this, it also indicates the level of development of the economy. If we are thinking about the Indian economy is in the way of development. Here, the more people are working in primary sector, but more output is coming from tertiary sector. The importance of tertiary sector is increasing in India. Now we can see the features of India's occupational structure. The following are the features of India's occupational structure. Predominance of agriculture sector. Agriculture was the principal source of occupation in India. 75% of population are engaged in agriculture, resulting in backwardness of Indian economy at the time of independence. The manufacturing and the service sectors accounted for only 10 and 15 to 20% respectively. The growth of all these three sectors was unbalanced. That means the tertiary sector is getting more importance now. Another feature is the regional variation. The states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, West Bengal witnessed a shift of dependence of workforce from agriculture sector to manufacturing and service sectors. However, there had been an increase in the share of workforce in agriculture during the same time in states such as Orissa, Rajasthan and Punjab. Next term, what we have to discuss here is the process of casualization. This is related to the growth and changing structure of our employment. During the period 1960 to 2000, GDP of India grew positively and was higher than the employment growth. However, there was always fluctuation in the growth of GDP. Employment grew at a stable rate about 2%. In 1972-73, about 74% of workforce was engaged in primary sector, and in 2009-10, this proportion has declined to 53%. Secondary and service sectors are showing promising future for the Indian workforce. The distribution of workforce in different status indicates that over the last 4 decades, 1972 to 2010, people have moved from self-employment and regular salaried employment to casual wage work. Yet, self-employment continues to be the major employment provider. The movement of labor from regular workers to casual wage worker is known as the process of casualization. Here, the laborers will move from the regular salaried worker to casual wage work. These are the revision questions from this module. Question number 1, explain about different categories of workers. Question number 2, write a note on the distribution of workers on region basis. Question number 3, what do you mean by occupational structure? Question number 4, what are the features of occupational structure in India? Question number 5, what do you mean by casualization of labor force? Explain with example jobless growth.